الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Imam Muslim collected in his Sahih on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam says, لا يستر عبدا في الدنيا إلا ستره الله يوم القيامة. He says sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, every time one would conceal the faults and shortcomings of someone in this life, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will conceal his faults and shortcomings on the day of judgment. In a different narration collected by Al-Bukhari and Muslim, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, كل أمتي معافى. Every individual from my ummah is forgiven by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-afu is pardon and forgiveness. إِلَّا الْمُجَاهِرِينَ, except those who expose themselves. And then the Prophet ﷺ went on to explain in what sense. He says sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَإِنَّ مِنَ الْمُجَاهَرَةِ, and one of the forms of exposing oneself, أن يعمل الرجل بالليل عملا, is for a person to do something wrong overnight. ثم يصبح وقد ستره الله عليه فيقول, and then he wakes up in the morning and Allah Ta'ala had already concealed his faults and his mistakes and sins and wrongdoing overnight. But he wakes up in the morning saying, bragging about it, sharing it with others, saying, Ya Fulan, he will say to his friends, to his acquaintances, he says, I did this and that last night, while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had concealed his faults and his mistakes. وَيُصْبِحُ يَكْشِفُ سَتْرَ اللَّهِ أو سِتْرَ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had already concealed and protected him from being exposed, and instead he goes out and exposes himself, subhanAllah. And a few things to, subhanAllah, take away from this beautiful concept. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of his attributes is as-sittir, the concealer, the protector of faults. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is his, and he wants that to also be part of what we practice as well. And especially in an era, social media, that literally strives on literally exposing faults and mistakes, and nothing travel faster than people's secret life to being outside. And especially when the more you're famous and the more you are regarded in a high position socially, the more you're scrutinized, and the more, even to the slightest of mistakes, they are magnified in the eyes of the people. And if it is just a person who is a common person would make even worse mistake than that, scrutinized individual, it goes unnoticed. The point of it is, the directive of the Prophet ﷺ is always about the akhirah. The metrics are about the akhirah. Measuring stick is about the akhirah. And the metric is, your reward is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be of equal nature. You conceal somebody's faults, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will conceal yours on the day of judgment. You expose somebody, Allah will expose you on the day of judgment, na'udhu billah. And then there is nothing worse than being exposed on the land of resurrection, because all of the creations of Allah will be on the land of resurrection. Not only is it mankind, from Adam alayhi salam to the last individual to roam this earth, jinn will be on the land of resurrection, Angels will be in the land of resurrection. Enough that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one to be there. يستخفون من الناس ولا يستخفون من الله وهو معهم. It's enough to know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows every move of ours. He knows all of our faults and mistakes. And He knows that we're bound to making so many. And yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extends His gift of concealing our shortcomings and our mistakes. And then, subhanAllah, as they say, if your house is made of glass, don't cast rocks at people, because the minute they're going to start casting rocks back at you, guess what? Your house is made of glass. All of your house is going to collapse, meaning yourself. We're all made of faults and mistakes. But He goes beyond. The Prophet ﷺ made it to where it becomes a form of deriving and getting reward for it by intentionally not concealing anybody's faults. And this is why, subhanAllah, every time we invest in ourselves, we don't have time to focus on what others are doing. The reason why we have so much energy invested in what people are doing and their faults is because we forgot about our own. When in fact that alaykum anfusakum, the focus should be directed within, not outside. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who, when they hear the speech, they follow the best of it. Wa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ala Muhammad. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.